Yo, what's going on, guys? Crispy Flakes here. Welcome to Extra Crispy. So, Hoops Reference has come out with his official NBA standing predictions for the Eastern Conference. He's also done Western Conference. If you guys want that video, next man, drop a like on this one right here. Also, link to his channel description below. Yeah, man. So, like, all season's over with. Preseason has begun. It's time to make your final selections, guys. So, y'all let me know in the comment section below, man. Give me your 8 playoff seeds for the Eastern Conference. Also, I am still wearing the sunglasses here because I've still misplaced my actual glasses. I think they're at my friend's house. I'm going to go there later today and grab those. Here we go, guys. Let's start this video.
With the new season right around the corner and training camp having already begun, we
Crispy
have
Shades,
a
man.
good
That's what they
idea
call me.
how each team is going to look going into the new year. With this information, along with a combination of prior production, future projections, and how teams look on paper, many fans and analysts use this to form their own predictions for how the season will play out and where each team will finish. This brings us to the topic of today's video, where I will be going through my projections for this season for each team and where they will finish in the standings. But specifically, I'll be focusing on the Eastern Conference, with the Western Conference predictions coming in my next video. Before we get started though, make sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel.
Go subscribe to his channel, guys. What y'all waiting for, man? Go subscribe to him, man.
That being said, let's begin.
He makes very good, consistent content.
Starting at the bottom
Charlotte
of the
Hornets,
and working our way to the top.
No
the
surprise.
Worst team in the Eastern Conference this year will be the Charlotte Hornets. The Hornets roster as a whole screams mediocrity, with more players washed and over the hill than there are promising young ones. Kemba Walker was a major reason why they even had any kind of relevance over the last few years, and with him gone, the team is going to be
unless Terry Rozier does some crazy things.
They replaced
Who knows?
Kemba with Terry Rozier,
who knows, man, right?
Who in his time in Boston was a bench player with sporadic production that was never consistent, and his efficiency has been pretty bad. Miles Bridges is a young guy that could break out this year, but even if he does,
Cody Zeller about to average 30
and
and
20.
Make
that much of a difference.
Watch.
Because the rest of the team is filled with role players at best. Next up, the team that will finish in 14th place in the Eastern Conference is the Washington
Isaiah
Wizards.
Thomas can average 30 a game this
Wizards
season.
will be without John Wall for the entirety of the season, and besides Bradley Beal, this is legitimately, without any exaggeration, the weakest roster in the whole league. Luckily, they do
let's take away Bradley Beal. Would I rather have the Washington Wizards squad or the Charlotte Hornets? Because like Thomas Bryant's solid. Yep. Okay, I'll take the Charlotte Hornets. Yep.
Have Beal though, which is why I don't have them in dead last. But ultimately, 14th isn't much better. Rui Hachimura is a name to watch here.
Also named to pronounce, that shit's hard to say.
To produce right away as a rookie, and Thomas Bryant has also become a nice player at center for them, but it's still not enough to make them anything more than a bottom feeder. And honestly, I feel bad for Bradley Beal,
like a superhero
because this
name.
is going to be a long season for them. Next up, the team
Cleveland,
that will finish in 13th place in the East is
good prediction
the Cleveland
so far,
Cavaliers. Kevin Love is coming back and could be a good boost to them, but there's also a chance that he gets traded to a playoff contender at some point this season, so that's yet to be seen.
If he gets traded, I could actually see Cleveland falling down to like that 14th spot. Because like, who are you taking? Colin Sexton, Darius Garland, or Bradley Beal? I'm taking Bradley Beal. You know what I'm saying? So
I really like their group of young.
Unless they got somebody like a good young player back for K-Love. Probably nothing too crazy.
Darius Garland and Kevin Porter Jr., but ultimately they are still very young and inexperienced.
Yeah, see what Kevin Porter does.
Which rarely results in winning games at the NBA level. These are the years where they'll be growing together and laying the foundation, because down the road,
and get that lottery pick, right? Get that James Wiseman, right? That's who they need.
We have the New York Knicks. The Knicks went into the summer swinging for the fences, and unfortunately,
Knicks could surprise a lot of us.
Able to hit a couple of singles. Both Kyrie Irving and Kevin Durant
they really could surprise, I think.
New York basketball team, leaving them to sign some lower quality yet still pretty solid players such as Julius Randle, Marcus Morris, Bobby Portis, and Elfrid Payton. They also drafted R.J. Barrett,
Yo,
who,
while
while
Payton
flawed, is also incredibly talented and versatile. Additionally, I personally am a big fan of Mitchell Robinson as a player and think he could legitimately lead the league in blocks this year. All in all, though, the roster is a weird combo of experienced role players and unproven young guys.
It's going to be an interesting team to watch.
True number one
Might be a league pass team.
And I don't see them contending for the playoffs this year. Up next at 11th in the East, we have the Atlanta Hawks.
Probably taking the Hawks over the Bulls.
Trae Young and John Collins leading the
Maybe.
way. Both of which are well on their way to becoming stars in this league.
Either
and
one.
There's no doubt that they're going to be
an
explosive offensive team. Especially with
Bulls can make
DeAndre
the playoffs.
Hunter, Cam Reddish, and Kevin Huerter too. Their young core is very strong. But like I said earlier, youth and inexperience rarely make playoff pushes, and also
that man wearing a Kyrie shirt with Trae Young?
Suspect.
What?
So while they'll be putting up a ton of points on a nightly basis, they'll also likely be giving up a ton of points as well. Up next in 10th place,
oh yeah, at least they're close,
we
right?
have the Chicago Bulls. The Bulls are yet another team on this list with an abundance of youth in their rotation, and like the Hawks, that group is filled with talent. Lauri Markkanen, Wendell Carter Jr., and Kobe White make a very
it's just about bringing it together. I think that's this season
Zach
is
LaVine's
chemistry.
Arsenal seems to grow every year, and he's become a legitimate top scorer, and even other guys in the rotation, such as Thad Young and Otto Porter, bring very strong production on both ends of the floor. Top to bottom, I really like this team a lot.
Chris Dunn as a backup's not bad
I'm
either.
Someone that struggles to trust youth leading the way, so while I think it'll be close.
And that's the thing, it's like, it's not that I think that the Bulls are a bad team, because I do think they have capabilities of being a pretty solid team this season. It's just that the team's above them. I cannot put the Bulls past them, I guess, is my biggest struggle.
Close. They're just on the outside looking into the playoffs. Up next in
Miami
9th place in the East, and just barely missing out on the playoffs, is the Miami
Unless
Heat.
they get Chris Paul or Bradley Beal.
This was a very difficult decision, and between them and the two teams ahead of them, I could honestly see any one of them falling to this position.
Yeah, we know it's going to be Detroit and Orlando.
For a few reasons. For one, every team that made the playoffs in the East last season has either stayed relatively the same or improved, so the Heat needed to improve to the point where they passed someone else. Yes, they definitely did make a big splash this summer by signing Jimmy Butler, but Jimmy showed some signs of decline last season and often coasted through the regular season.
I think it was just his role with the team, though.
He absolutely can't afford to do in Miami.
He's the man in Miami now.
In order for Miami to find playoff success, they'll need Jimmy to be going hard on a regular basis.
Waiters Island, too.
Additionally, Jimmy has proven that when teams he's on struggle a bit, he can become a bit of a distraction, and the Heat aren't necessarily the most talented team, so this might have...
Damn, that's a nice release.
Next up, starting off the playoff teams now, we have the Detroit Pistons in as the 8th seed. Blake Griffin's health...
We can be better than damn Orlando. Like, Vucevic had the man had one-hit wonder type of season, although... How Markelle Fultz ended up doing last night? Gotta look that up real quick as we're going through here, man.
With the Pistons, but when he's healthy, he makes them a tough team to face. Plus, I loved the Derrick Rose signing because Reggie Jackson's tenure in Detroit has been pretty disappointing, and Rose could be in the 6th race this year. They've still got Drummond dominating the boards. Kennard has come along on the wing.
Damn, Markelle Fultz, 6 points, 4 assists.
I think as long as Blake stays healthy, they sneak in. Next up as the 7th seed in the Eastern Conference,
Detroit's better than Orlando
Magic. The Magic finally snapped their playoff drought last season.
How is Orlando over Detroit? Blake Griffin, better than Aaron Gordon by a damn long shot. Andre Drummond, Vucevic, it's like they both like Vucevic is like the offensive dude, Drummond's like the defensive, rebound. Like, not really defense, rebound. Okay, maybe Vucevic is better. I don't know, man. I don't know. I guess it could go either way.
And made sure they brought everyone back this offseason.
We got Luke Kennard. You all don't got him.
Continue to build off that momentum.
You got damn
Vucevic
Evan Fournier.
Established himself as an all-star caliber player. Aaron Gordon is one of the most versatile wing players on both ends. Evan Fournier is a solid scorer out on the wing, and Terrence Ross just had his best year as a pro. Plus, Jonathan Isaac and Mo Bamba are both poised to break out this season, especially on the defensive end, where they could both become
Mo Bamba's ass going to be on the bench again.
They have a nice balance through their roster, and once again, I see them making the playoffs. Up next as the 6th seed in the East,
6 for Boston, okay.
The Boston Celtics.
6 for Boston, huh? I don't remember my predictions, Rick. I did have Toronto like in top 4, so I'll probably say to finish the season, 76ers, Bucks, Celtics, Toronto. Damn, number 6 for Boston. Okay, I'm taking Boston over the Brooklyn Nets this season. Like Kyrie's great and everything like that, but without Kevin Durant, I'm taking Boston over the Nets.
Last season was a complete disaster
for sure, man.
And this season, they're significantly worse. Kemba Walker is a downgrade from
they're
Kyrie
significantly
Irving,
worse.
And Enes Kanter is a substantial downgrade from Al Horford. They're going to have to rely heavily on Jason Tatum actually becoming the player many have hyped him up to be.
Could actually help.
And Gordon Hayward is going to have to actually produce like a max contract player. And even if they do, I still see the team winning fewer games this year than they did a year ago.
Okay.
Next up for the 5th seed in the East.
I still think I'm taking Celtics over Brooklyn, though.
We've got the Brooklyn Nets. The Nets smacked a home run this offseason when they signed both Kyrie Irving and Kevin.
Look at it this way. Like, you got, like Kemba Walker. Okay, like, maybe he's not as good as Kyrie Irving, but, like, so you got, like, that matchup right there. But you look at the rest of the roster, as of right now, the Celtics got a better overall roster. Like, all they got over him is Kyrie over Kemba. And even that is, like, minimal difference, because Kemba's that good, so...
Durant in free agency. Adding 2 bona fide stars like those two to a core of players that had already established an amazing culture and highly productive play on the court is going to make
Jaylen Brown coming out tough this season. Trying to get that contract extension.
At least next year.
That 170.
Durant's out for the season this year, but this year without him, they're still a strong playoff team. They may not be the favorites to win the East, but they definitely won't be a group teams will want to face in the postseason. Next up, with the 4 seed in the East, we have the Indiana Pacers.
Bro, they were killing it in India.
That
was with that India when they were playing, right? Killing it, man.
Which should make them one of the strongest defensive units in
TJ
the
Warren.
league. They also added TJ Warren, who was one of the most underrated scorers in the league, and now will get to show it on an actually good team, as opposed to doing it for the bottom-feeding Suns. Victor Oladipo will be out for a little while because of an injury, which is why I have them here at 4, because if he was healthy, I truly believe they're a top 3 team in the East.
Fair enough. No
for
disagreements.
The 3 seed in the East, we have the Toronto Raptors. The Raptors have been one of the most disrespected teams this offseason.
That's true.
And have been written off way too frequently.
I've disrespected
Coming off a championship,
not gonna lie, but
I've seen way too many people proclaiming that they won't even make the playoffs, which is...
Now that's stupid. If you're saying they're not gonna make the playoffs, you're an idiot. Like, the team definitely gonna make the playoffs in the Eastern Conference. Like, you saying that, man, you an idiot, bro. Damn.
It's just absurd in my opinion. Yes, they did lose Kawhi Leonard, and no, they are not nearly as good as they were last year.
Fred VanVleet, though?
But there's still a strong roster left in Toronto. Last season, in the 22 games that Kawhi Leonard missed in the regular season, the team went 17-5, showing they were capable of winning plenty of games without him in the regular season. Pascal Siakam broke out last year.
Yeah, but y'all lost Danny Green too, and that's not like an easy loss to fill.
Kyle Lowry, while he is declining, is still a good shooter, tough defender, and runs the offense.
Even argue he's not declining.
Marc
like,
Gasol and Serge Ibaka are still solid front court players, and Fred VanVleet is set to once again be in the 6th Man of the Year race.
Kyle Lowry.
Now, with the
Kyle Lowry stays. Is this man even really declining? Like, I'll put stays. This is awkward, man. Okay, last season, the man averaged 14 points, 5 rebounds, 9 assists. Season before, 16 points, 6 rebounds, 7 assists. So, like, his scoring's down 2 points. No big deal. Less than 1 rebound. His assists is up nearly 2 assists per game. So, I wouldn't even say he's regressing. Field goal percentage, 41% is not great, but I don't think he's regressing, really. I think he's fine.
In the East, which also marks the top tier of teams that are in legitimate contention to win the conference, we have the Milwaukee Bucks. They won 60 games last season and got the 1 seed. Plus, they returned most of that team this year.
I still think Brogdon's an underrated loss.
Very key contributor in Malcolm Brogdon, and they replaced him with Wes Matthews, who's a good shooter, but he's been on the decline as a player for a few years now, and is definitely not as good good as Brogdon.
Eric Bledsoe's a scrub,
I was
too.
actually very heavily considering putting them at 1 because
could get traded for Chris Paul.
Wise, they're still going to win a boatload of games.
It's going to happen.
But ultimately, I slid them down 1 because I was a huge fan of the moves that the team ahead of them made, along with some other things.
Is that Thon Maker? You don't do that shit on the Pistons no more.
The team that I believe will finish atop the Eastern Conference.
Philadelphia will finish number 1, but they will not get to the NBA Finals. That is my prediction. Their roster just screams 60 wins, but that bench unit screams not going to win the NBA Finals.
Conference this year is the Philadelphia 76ers. The Sixers got bounced out of the playoffs last year in literally the most heartbreaking way imaginable, as Kawhi
like Sixers fans gonna be really cocky, and then they're gonna be sorely disappointed.
While they did lose Jimmy Butler and JJ Redick, they replaced them with Josh Richardson and Al Horford, both of which are elite defensive players.
Yes, sir.
Adding those two to Joel Embiid and Ben Simmons, who also both happen to be elite defenders, and it makes for a brutal team to try to score against. They've got the defensive firepower, and they've got
I do like
the
Matisse
Thybulle,
though. He'll be nice off the bench,
especially when you
sure.
add in Tobias Harris's
20
points per game and 40% three-point shooting into the mix. And their bench is actually somewhat deep, which you couldn't say about past teams, especially with guys like Mike Scott and James Ennis returning, plus young guys like Zaire Smith and Matisse Thybulle fighting for minutes. As
they have like dudes off the bench, but they don't have that. They don't have that bench guy. They don't have that guy off the bench. You know what I'm saying?
Guys. I was going to put them as the 2 seed because the team tends to be cautious with Joel Embiid, but Embiid said at Media Day that he wants to play more games this year than he did last year. And if he can actually do that, then this team is going to win a hell of a lot of games. And with that being said, that's all I have for you today.
Okay, guys, that is the end of the video right there. I would say for the most part, he has pretty good rankings. Like, there's a few that you could probably flip around, but that just comes down to subjective opinions and things like that, man. But yeah, guys, like I said, give me your playoff seedings for the Eastern Conference in the comment section below. If you want to do 1 through 15, feel free to do that also. And yeah, man, we are going to check out the Western Conference next.